You're listening to the official Push Square podcast featuring Ben and Ben. Do you push square?
Hello everybody and welcome to episode 6 of the Push Square podcast. My name is Ben Potter. I am the video editor for pushsquare.com, the best PlayStation website on the internet. And joining me, as always, even though it's only been 6 times, is Ben Tarrant. Hello Ben.
Hello Ben.
How you doing, man?
Yeah man, not too bad.
Man?
Not too bad.
You good, man?
Yeah dude.
Man?
Dude.
What's up, man?
Man.
Such an exciting show. We have the most excited human being on the planet. If a golden retriever was a person right now, it would be Editor-in-Chief Sammy Barker, who will be joining us to talk about Uncharted 4. The review is live today on pushsquare.com. Go and read it. He wants to tell us all about it, and we've got him on. He's going to tell us about it.
He's so excited.
I was a bit uncomfortable, to be honest.
You could, like you said, you could hear the smiles.
You could hear the smile. It's like he was going to fight through the internet and just punch us out of excitement. But we've also got news to discuss. Lots of things going on at the moment.
Lots.
The feature today that's going to be discussed is which PS4 first-party exclusives are currently in the pipeline?
In development?
In development, and rumoured ones and stuff like that. There's an indie bin.
Yep.
Is there a particular game indie bin this week?
Indie bin, we talk about Severed, the new title for Vita from Drinkbox Studios.
What's it called?
Guacamelee
developers, yeah. And then we've got some questions from you guys, and then we're going to wrap it up and hopefully have it be under an hour. Let's start with some news, shall we?
Let's.
Unknown. Unidentified settlement ships. You are moving into restricted.
They just opened fire. We're f***ing fire. Native guns are attacking our airship.
This is a full-blown...
Oh my god.
First up, unveiled this week, even though it sort of leaked several times.
It leaked everywhere.
Call of Duty Infinite Warfare is a thing that exists and seems to be in space. Maybe. I don't know. Guns are in it, though. And grenades.
That's new for Call of
Are
Duty.
you excited?
No.
I love grenades.
I couldn't give a hoot if I'm honest. I can give a hoot about a Modern Warfare remaster,
Call
but
of
not
Duty
with the
4.
£70 price tag.
Call of Duty 4 Modern Warfare will be remastered and be packaged alongside Call of Duty Infinite Warfare. Could this be some kind of ploy to push up sales? Maybe. Business tactics. It's not surprising at all that they're doing this, but if you want a copy of Modern Warfare Remastered, you're going to have to buy a special edition of Infinite Warfare for
£70.
worth it. Personally, I would love a Call of Duty Modern Warfare Remaster. I don't need one, and therefore I am happy to wait until they release it standalone.
Because they will.
Because they will eventually, yeah.
They will.
Of course they will. So, I can wait. Can you wait?
Of course.
Not this time, Activision. We also got some other release dates this week. Dishonored,
Dishonored.
which is Dishonored, it's just the American spelling.
Which is wrong.
Dishonored 2, the 11th of November.
Which is actually a pushback. It was
Is it?
originally intended for spring 2016.
Well, spring's done, isn't it?
Exactly, done and
It's
dusted.
way into May now. And also Fallout 4's, I think, final expansion, or at least the final expansion that's part of the Season Pass, which is a proper big expansion with story and a new area and voice acting and all sorts of exciting stuff. Far Harbor. There's a trailer for that. It's releasing on the 19th of May, a couple of weeks' time.
Yeah, I'm really excited for
Day
that.
before my birthday.
Hint, hint.
Jot that down and give me a card. I don't want that necessarily, I just want you to remember it's my birthday.
I will.
Just a text or something,
20th of May,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Don't ask for much, just a text.
Okay. Guys, send in birthday messages.
Yeah, send me texts. My number is...
So Sucker Punch, Spider-Man rumours.
Yeah.
That's a thing, apparently.
Mm-hmm. They make the infamous games.
Yes.
They do very good superhero games. Somehow, these crazy Spider-Man rumours have come about where people think that Sucker Punch are going to be making a Spider-Man game, which would be very cool. Is it likely, though? Let's dive into where the rumours started, shall we? Let's dive. You ready to dive with me?
Put our swim trunks on and
Yeah.
on the diving board, let's go.
I'm very uncomfortable. So it was originally this game. It was on the resume of a motion capture performer called Stephen O. Young. It said Untitled Spider-Man PS4 game, is what it said.
And what? So why do people
And
think...
from that, some people seem to think that Sucker Punch is developing it because they were advertising for a spectacular project and they needed someone with an understanding of superhero costume design, which is ambiguous as hell.
I can see the link.
There's a link, but it's pretty tenuous. I mean, if a Spider-Man game was happening and it was being developed first-party exclusive, chances are they'd hand it to the superhero developer.
Yeah,
But
no.
everything linking that is just, well, they said spectacular, and
They
they
said
like
that.
superheroes, so I don't know. Doesn't seem too likely to me. I would love it,
Yeah, it'd work.
but I don't think it's going to happen. Don't think it's going to happen.
Time will tell.
It will.
Okay, something I'm quite excited for.
Okay.
From Software, those people that do them Dark Souls games.
Yeah, they're a Dark Souls game.
Yeah. They have been announced to be doing a PS4 PSVR title. And you quite rightly mentioned Armored Core.
That seems to be what they kind of want to go back to, right?
And how good would that work in VR?
I don't know what Armored Core is, really.
You basically drive giant mechs.
Giant mechs.
It's
Okay.
giant mech battles, but it'd be so cool, like a cockpit view in VR. That'd be awesome. That would work so well.
I can't deny that would be a good application for
Yeah.
VR, but I have no interest in that at all.
Nah.
I'm sorry.
To be fair, I'm rubbish at the Armored Core games. I enjoy them, but they're super complex.
I've never played one.
Really?
And don't you bloody dare suggest we do a YouTube series on it. I have no interest. The reason I haven't
No, we're
played it is
doing
because I
it.
have no
We're
interest.
getting you to play Ratchet and Clank.
I played Ratchet and Clank. What?
You say you didn't?
I said I've never played one to completion.
Ah, okay.
I know what they are. They're good games.
We'll find a hole in your history.
Beg your pardon? We can't even get you to finish Uncharted 1. Let's just concentrate on that first, alright?
Okay.
Mighty Number 9. The indefinitely suspended title.
Isn't indefinitely suspended anymore.
It's gone gold.
Dun, dun, dun.
It has an actual release date. In Europe it's the 24th of June, and in the States it's the 21st of June. It's happening. Are you excited?
I literally only ever hear about it because of its delays.
That's all we know about it. It's a game where you delay games at a game development studio. I don't know, it's a
Mega Man game.
It's kind of like Mega Man, right?
It's a Mega Man
this is from the
platformer or
guy who did
something.
Mega Man, and I don't really like Mega Man, so people who like Mega Man might like this game because it's like Mega Man.
Yeah,
Mega Man,
essentially.
that's all we got.
Sad news now.
Yeah, Play Magazine. Remember Play?
I do. Yeah.
They have
Shuttered.
they've
Print.
shut down, and now
Just
they're
print. Yeah, just print.
they're digital only.
Yes.
At this point, it's been running for a long time in the UK.
Yeah.
I can't say specifically.
No, I believe it's over 20 years.
It was never my magazine of choice. My
No.
magazine of choice was PSM3,
Okay.
and I loved PSM3, and then it died.
Magazines are dying all over the place. It's really sad.
It is really sad, and I feel for them immensely because the print scene in the games industry obviously is really struggling because of the rise of online media, and it's been that way for a long time.
The immediacy
And it's
of
only
online-
going to
online
exactly,
media.
and it's only going to get worse. I feel like their only real appeal will be that the novelty of it actually being a physical magazine.
Yes.
And well, there will be a few hangers-on who like the writers and will check out what they're doing digitally. Now that they're no longer in that physical market space and they're suddenly being shoved into this vicious online arena
I don't give them wrong.
where people have to pay to access their content in an environment where you can just type one word into your search engine and find exactly the same stuff, but
Yeah.
behind no kind of paywall whatsoever. That's where magazines go to die.
Yeah.
I feel like publishers are saying, it's okay, you can try doing the digital thing.
Although it
So-
worked for Games Radar, which is actually OPM, OXM, it's all their online components
I suppose so. It worked for CVG for a while as well.
for a while.
But I think it's a very, very competitive place, online journalism. And when you're asking people to pay to access your stuff, then you're going to have trouble. Especially if you are a relative unknown. Even though they're a veteran of the print game,
Yeah.
online, if they suddenly show up and say, hey, we were a UK magazine for 20 years, pay to access our stuff, people are going to be like, No, I'm going to go to Push Square.
Yeah.
I'm going to go to other sites that aren't as good as Push Square, you know? So I feel for them, I really do, and I hope they have huge success, but it's going to be hard. It's going to be very difficult, very difficult. Now, you're very excited about this next one.
I am, actually, yes. This was ominously announced a while ago with very, very little, and it's now finally got like a trailer, and that's Space Hulk Deathwing. So Space Hulk is a Warhammer 40k element, and it's giant spaceships, empty husks of cities and stuff like that, and they're ginormous. They're like, stop.
What?
Let me have this.
I'm just getting excited.
And I'm going to push you off that chair.
You're going to try.
It wouldn't be
bounce straight back up.
And your Deathwings, which are Space Marine Chapter, and your Terminators, which are elite, heavy, armoured Space Marines, essentially.
Okay.
And you're sent into the Space Hulk to explore it. And within that, there are Gene Stealers, which are these
Gene Stealers?
Gene Stealers. They're as cool as they sound. They're like creatures.
They just steal Levi's.
It's a really interesting looking game. I loved Space Marine, Warhammer 40k Space Marine, which was a really honourable 40k game, which normally sits on PC.
Did you used to be properly into your Warhammer then?
Yeah. I was a huge fan of Dawn of War games. They were really
I'm not talking
good.
about the game.
Yeah,
I'm talking about the actual
I never
Warhammer.
played it. Like, I could never understand it. But I like.
You like the figurines?
Yeah, I liked collecting them.
I was into
painting
the
them
old
and such.
school Warhammer.
Oh, okay, I always
Lizard Man.
liked.
I had the Lizard
Yeah,
Man.
just
spent
Warhammer.
Spent a lot of
normal.
Yeah, I spent
Yeah,
a
I
lot
always
of money
liked
on Lizard
40k.
Man.
I to be fair, I warmed to 40k initially because the guy behind the counter said that Necrons were easiest to paint because you literally did a black undercoat and then you dry brushed gunmetal and that was it. That's all you needed to do.
That sold you on a
was
hobby
it.
that you didn't even have yet.
I was like, yes,
Wow.
that sounds fun and easy. Bloody expensive.
Oh, it really is. The reason I went with Lizard Men is because one of their special ones you could buy for like £35 was a lizard man riding a T-Rex or something awesome like that.
Lizard riding a lizard.
It's amazing. It's the coolest thing.
But yeah, that's happening and it looks really functional. It's 4-player co-op. It's nice that this is coming to consoles,
Yeah.
namely PS4, because most 40k titles go to PC for obvious reasons.
No, this is where the nerds are, isn't it?
Yeah.
That's where the gaming nerds are.
Yeah.
Hello everyone, it's Sammy from Push Square, and today I want to talk to you about PlayStation 4 exclusives.
So, this feature, what PS4 first-party exclusives are Sony making? It's probably got a more concise and punchy headline than that, but that's what this is. You awake?
Yep.
Yeah, okay.
Yep.
He's with us. Now, there is an article version of this. There's even a video version of this, youtube.com/pushsquare or pushsquare.com to see the full article. Sammy Barker, painstakingly going through all the different studios to see what is happening in terms of what is announced and what is rumoured currently. We're going to go through them. We're going to have a little discussion. You ready for this?
Let's do this.
Let's start with Japan Studio. Currently announced projects include Gravity Rush 2, the new Hot Shots Golf, and The Last Guardian. Thoughts on those games?
I never played Gravity Rush, shamefully. I've never heard of new Hot Shots Golf.
It's just Hot Shots Golf, but there's a new one.
Oh,
it doesn't
okay.
have an official title.
That's how much I know about it.
Clearly, yeah.
I am a huge fan of Ico.
So you're looking forward to The Last Guardian.
Really looking
In fact,
forward
it
to
may
that.
be called New Hot Shots Golf. I don't know either. I loved Gravity Rush 1. I've just replayed the HD version on PS4.
I'm going to buy that because it's on sale at the moment.
Just borrow it if you want.
You sure?
Yeah.
Oh,
But
yeah.
I get Dragon Age back from you because you haven't touched that yet and you've had it for like 4 months.
Is it on PS4, the one you lent me?
Yeah.
Is it?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, I will play it.
Will you?
Yeah, I will.
It's a long game.
Yeah, I know.
When are you
but
going to play it?
When I finish Dark Souls, which won't be long.
Right.
Okay.
And then you've
Anyway.
got Uncharted.
Yeah.
And then you've got all your indie bins.
Yeah.
You've got tons of those. Anyway, I'm really looking forward to Gravity Rush 2, even if it's more of the same. It's got very... I don't know, it's just really good.
Okay.
It's just really good. It really appealed to me and I like that a lot. Hot Shots Golf, they're great fun, those games.
Yeah.
And if it gets... I'm not sure if I would pay a full retail price for it, but if it was a digital game, 20 quid, I'd go for
Yeah.
that. I'd go for that.
Fair enough.
Rumoured projects for Japan studio, Bloodborne 2 and Knack 2.
Well, I'm definitely all over one of these, and you know which one it is.
Knack 2.
Damn straight.
Knack 2 is a game that we don't want. We don't want it.
It's not the game we want, but it's the game we deserve.
No. Let's not even entertain that notion. We just don't get any ideas, Cerny. We don't want it. We don't want it.
Would you want it if it was,
No.
developed with Kojima?
What?
They've gone around and they're like, Knack needs help, so they've gone on a tour of all the studios around the world to try and fix Knack.
So we got Hideo in. What's he going to do to Knack
Solid.
2? Knack Gear Solid. Shut up. Bloodborne 2 is not going to happen, at least for a long time, because From Software are already doing other stuff. I mean,
Yep.
Sony could get another studio to do it, but they'd be insane to do that.
Why would you? No, there's no way.
It'd be insane.
No, you
So-
could never get another
Nuh-uh.
studio. No
Nuh-uh.
way.
Polyphony Digital.
How did you say that?
Polyphony.
Polyphony?
Polyphony.
Yeah, isn't it polyphony?
No, mate.
Poly.
Have you really been saying polyphony?
No.
Good. Because that would be embarrassing, wouldn't it? Polyphony... Shut up. Polyphony Digital. You're making me say it weird now. They're currently working on Gran Turismo Sport. That is announced. Any interest in Gran Turismo at all?
Do you know what? I grew up playing it on PS1,
Mm-hmm.
so it's got a place in my heart, but I have no interest in racing games anymore.
It's too sim for me. I can't do it. I don't
It's
find
like
it
Formula
fun.
1, I can't do it
It's
for the
just-
life of me.
It's just too realistic, and
Yeah.
I don't enjoy myself very much.
I can't drive in real life, so I doubt
mate.
I'm going to be able to do it in a game.
I want a racing game with boost and explosions.
Need for Speed.
I want no. I want a new motorstorm.
Oh, I want a new Burnout. I want
They're
Burnout
working
3
on a
Takedown.
Burnout kind of thing.
What,
Right?
the golf game?
What?
Isn't
The
that
golf game?
Yeah, there's that golf game that's just you hit the golf ball and it just detonates an entire room, and the idea is to destroy as much. And it's
I have
as
no
much
idea
as
what you're
possible.
talking. That sounds amazing. I have
It's
no
like
idea what you're talking
giant
about.
robot golf or something.
100-foot robot
Oh,
golf.
no, it's
That's
not
different.
that,
That's
it's not
different.
that.
It's a different game.
There's so much golf games.
That looks
about.
amazing as well.
Yeah,
though.
that does look so good.
100-foot robo golf was
Robo-golf.
was the best trailer I've ever seen. And when they showed that at the PlayStation Experience, I lost my mind. What is this? I need this game. That's why I'm buying VR for 100-foot robo golf. 100-foot robot golf.
Right, calm down.
God, I'm like Sammy.
Yeah.
You haven't heard Sammy yet, but Sammy is as excited for Uncharted 4 as I am for 100-foot robot golf.
I don't know if that's a good thing.
I think it's brilliant.
Right, Guerrilla Games, what are they doing?
They are currently working on Horizon Zero Dawn. We know that's happening. It's looking pretty good.
I'm very excited for this as well. I
coming out
love
this
the way
year,
that
apparently.
I love the way that they have fused history and the future.
Yeah.
I think I really like that. I like wooden electronics. So my headphones at the moment are wood. I like the idea of electronics and nature
Right.
coming together. It sounds so lame when you say it out loud.
So
It
does.
sounds terrible, but you guys get what I mean. It's really cool to merge those things that you wouldn't normally put together.
Yeah.
And doing giant dinosaur robot things
Yeah.
and firing arrows at them.
Dinosaur robot face.
It's all robots and golf. That's like
Yeah.
2016.
Dinosaurs. We discussed dinosaurs.
Yeah,
before.
dinosaurs as well.
Gorilla Cambridge. They're working on Rigged Mechanized Combat League.
That's the VR title, isn't
That's the
it?
one I'll probably get for VR's launch
your pre-ordered.
because it's a game, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's a game that exists. I don't know if it's any good. I haven't actually played it. I played VR twice now.
Gorilla seems to get the launch titles quite a bit.
It can be trusted. I mean, Gorilla Cambridge, they weren't always Gorilla Cambridge, obviously. But Gorilla can be trusted. There's a trusted brand. A trusted brand. London Studio, another VR title. PlayStation VR Worlds. That's sort of the not mini games, but several games bundled together.
It's your Wii Sports of the VR
It's your
world.
Wii Sports. It should really be bundled with VR, to be honest.
Is it not?
Don't think so, unless you pay for it.
That's a joke.
Yeah, but there we go. Next up.
Media Molecule. They've announced Dreams, that game that can't be described because they don't know what it is because it's so random and weird.
Yeah, I am totally up for this game. I have no idea what it is.
Yeah, I'm down for it, but I'm scared of it.
But I trust Media Molecule implicitly.
I do.
I know you can make polar bears cry. That's what the trailer told me. Yeah.
That's so mean.
And strange old men played piano.
That sounds weird.
That's it. That's all I know.
It sounds like something only Media Molecule could come up with as well.
Apparently it does have sort of a, not a narrative, but a single player focused.
Okay.
There is a kind of story thing, as well as...
Do you think it's going to go down the route of like Scribblenauts?
What, where you get given a problem and then you just have
You
to...
solve it with your
just have to-
imagination.
Maybe, I don't know.
That would be really... I love Scribblenauts.
I'd love them to do another sort of tearaway kind of approach, where it's
Yeah.
sort of like a weird... kind of... You're a god, almost. Which really, you know, makes me feel good.
Yeah, it sits with your God complex
Oh,
nicely.
yeah, that's good. Right in the god complex. And... yeah, I'm very excited for that. I've got no idea what it is, but I want to play it really badly.
Sony San Diego?
Sony San Diego are working on Drawn to Death and Kill Strain. Drawn to Death is the new David Jaffe game, right?
Right.
That's the one they ended E3 on, and I don't know about anyone else, but I sort of went, oh, that was the one. Okay.
Is Killstrain a shooter?
I honestly am not too sure.
I feel like it's a first-person shooter zombie game, which we have too much of. I might not be doing it justice. It might be amazing.
Yeah, it might also be about 100-foot robot golf, and you just have no idea.
Yeah.
It's just called Kill Strain. Sucker Punch.
Obviously, aforementioned in the news.
Could be working on a Spider-Man game, but currently it's an open-world action game. That's all we know.
Pretty open.
Who knows? Sony Bend. Dead Don't Ride. Rumoured. Again, we don't know what they're doing. Do we care? I don't. People seem to be very excited about what Sony Bend are doing. I couldn't care less.
Fair enough.
Yeah, I don't know why there is such buzz around that studio.
See, I've got a bit of buzz about Santa Monica because they dropped some of the good games that I like.
Okay,
And
talk us through what Santa Monica
they've worked
got going
on a lot of the games that I like as well.
Yeah.
They're working on Bound, the modern zombie taxi company,
Mm-hmm.
which sounds ridiculous.
Yeah, that did look funny.
Whatum, which I'm not sure if that's a typo in the notes or an actual game.
It could well be a name. of a
And
game.
What Remains of Edith Finch, which
does that
sounds more like what I would like to play.
That's got Walking Simulator
Yeah.
written all over it.
Which I'm all about.
Oh yeah.
Rumoured,
Mm-hmm.
which again is that whole printing money, everything's coming back, it's got to happen.
Yeah.
I can't do Roman numerals, but it's God of War 4, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Do you not
cool,
know
yeah.
how Roman numerals works?
Let's not have this conversation live.
No, I mean I'm happy to teach you. It's very simple.
No,
The Final Fantasy games taught me Roman numerals.
yeah, I didn't get on board with Final Fantasy, so
V is 5, X is 10.
Yeah, yeah, I know
ones
those.
either side indicate which direction it's going. So if it's
Okay.
IV, it's 5 minus 1, which is 4.
Oh, okay.
One the other side is 6, 7, 8.
So-
and then it'll be
okay.
X1, which will be 9, and then X1, which will be 11, so on. That's how it
Wicked.
works.
There you go.
Simple.
We all learned something today, guys.
There we go. If you didn't know already, which you probably do because you're a grown-up man.
Thank you.
Finally, Naughty Dog. We know they're working on Uncharted 4. That's how
Well, yeah, they're going to be
Next
working on the
week.
single-player DLC for that as well.
they will. But who knows if there's a second part of the studio working on The Last of Us 2 already.
There's been enough rumblings about that. There was the art director that
The art
left. Yeah, the art guy that left with an image of Ellie playing guitar
Yeah.
in that kind of swampy area with clickers coming in.
Yeah, that was a...
Was that him paying homage?
I think
the
that
idea?
was just a imagine if we did this kind of thing. At the time, it was very much that. I don't think anyone, especially me, I don't want a game where you play as a grown-up Ellie.
No, we don't need it.
Because I want to because part of the brilliance of that game, without getting too drawn into the smutty side of it, it was a very real relationship between a sort of a father-daughter kind of
Yeah,
relationship.
which you'd lose if she was older.
Exactly,
Yeah.
exactly, and I don't want that. I don't want that memory sullied by having a. Here's Ellie. She's 22 and she's fine as hell. It's like, I don't. No thanks.
You know she would be too.
Goddamn right. No, let's not.
Let's not go down that road.
Please don't. Anyway, that is the feature.
Yep.
Now it's time to talk to Sammy Barker about Uncharted 4. And now, joining us on the phone, Editor-in-Chief of pushsquare.com, Samuel Barquez. Hello, Sam.
Hi guys, how's it going?
I've never called you any of those names, have I?
Don't worry, the directors at the company, they send me letters with like King Sammy and Lord
Nice.
Sammy.
So you have been playing Uncharted 4,
I have completed it.
which we are all extremely jealous of. It's due to release next week, is that
Yeah,
right?
it's out on Tuesday, yeah.
Amazing. So tell us, firstly, how does it look?
It looks absolutely amazing. I'm not exaggerating. It's the best looking PlayStation game I've ever seen ever. Like, you know how in the Order 1886 all the character models looked absolutely amazing, right? But in this, the character models are amazing, and then you've got just unbelievable scope and scale to the levels. It's unlike anything you've ever seen. I'm not overhyping it. It's incredible.
Really?
Yeah.
So is it quite open world then in places?
Yeah, it's very open. So
Wow.
I don't know if you saw the recent footage, the most recent footage they've put out, but there's one level. This isn't a spoiler, don't worry. I will preface that there'll be no spoilers in this
Good.
segment. But one of the locations you go to is Madagascar, and you have a jeep basically to traverse that environment by wheels. So
Yeah.
you can get out of the Jeep at any time and go and explore on foot, and then you come back to the Jeep and you carry on driving around. So that's kind of the scale of the levels. It's definitely not open world, but Naughty Dog calls it wide linear, which is a bit of a buzzword. But it
Wow,
basically
okay.
means you can go off the beaten path at any time. Not in every level, but most levels are like that.
Okay, brilliant. Speaking of this new footage that's just come out, we have seen a winch involved.
Yes, there's
A
winch.
Jeep winch. Are there any other new mechanics like that other than the winch?
Yeah, so Nate has a grappling hook now, which is one of the big things they've added, and this plays into combat as well as platforming. So some sections you'll have to jump a massive gap basically, and you'll swing on a rope to get across, or you might climb up the rope. And then when you're in combat, you can use the grappling hook to really cover a lot of distance so you can flank enemies much easier. And this is a big thing throughout the whole game is everything's much bigger. So in the old Uncharted games, you would sit behind cover and shoot the enemies and then move on to the next area, right? But in here,
Right.
it's a bit more Metal Gear Solid style, the recent Metal Gear Solid, where you've got lots of different options. There's tall grass, so you can go in stealthily, or you can use the grappling hook, like I just mentioned, to get around. So everything's got a bit more dynamic nature to it, if you know what I mean. So it's really good.
Brilliant.
And so it's not a secret that I'm not a huge Uncharted fan,
Yeah.
but I am a fan of The Last of Us.
Yes.
Now we know that the writers for that are involved in this.
Yeah.
Would you say that that's had an impact on the story? Is it maybe more emotional than previous iterations?
Yeah, well, these guys, Bruce Straley and Neil Druckmann, who are the directors on this one, they were heavily involved in Uncharted 2. And then they obviously went off to do The Last of Us while another team did Uncharted 3. So they're back on this one. You can definitely feel The Last of Us in it, but I really need to stress, people are worried that it's going really dark and really heavy and it's going to be really emotional. It's definitely not. It's still an Uncharted game, but if you think Uncharted 1 came out in 2007, I think, so it's almost 10 years old, and this game feels like it's been made by a team who are 10 years older, if that makes sense, and it also knows that its fans are 10 years older, so it's kind of grown up in a way, but it's still definitely Uncharted.
Excellent. Does it have the same sort of silliness then, the same humour, quips
Yeah.
between characters?
Yeah, definitely. It's very light-hearted at points, but it knows when to sort of double down on an emotional factor. And the story isn't complex. It isn't dark like The Last of Us. It isn't really deep, but it's very relatable. So again, this isn't a spoiler, but they try to humanize Drake in a way that they never have before.
Right.
I think most people know that at the start of this game, or at a point when this game happens, he's given up kind of the treasure hunting, and
Yeah.
you kind of get a peek into kind of the internal dilemma that he wants that life, but he also wants his new life at the same time, and that's kind of what the whole plot's about. It's just brilliantly done. Like I say, all the characters, they're quite simple, and the story is quite simple, but because Naughty Dog can animate and write, and the actors are just the best in the business, it gives it a levity that you don't get in other games, and you really buy into what's going on. Well, I did anyway. I just thought it was brilliant.
it's not been any kind of a secret that this is potentially the last Nathan Drake escapade we're going to get.
Yeah.
Is there a sense of kind of finality to it all?
Definitely, but I can't say anymore. It would
I don't like the tone of his voice there. Jesus.
It would not.
Yes.
It would not be fair to say what happens. But yeah, I think. I mean, they can make more if they want. They can go dive into it and go back and explore.
Reanimate Nathan Drake's corpse. Am I right?
Explore adventures that we didn't see, or whatever. But
Right.
I think for Naughty Dog, they're done with it, and it definitely feels like they're done with it. I mean, this game is packed with fan service, which at times I was like, no, they're doing too much here. This is too fan servicey. But then they drop the ultimate piece of fan service, which I can't say about, and I wish I could mention it. But when you play it, and it's unmissable, when people play it, they will know what I'm talking about.
Does Eddie Raja come back? Everyone's favourite villain, Eddie Raja?
My lips are sealed.
Oh God, please say he doesn't. I was joking. Okay, so what about the villain then, the bad guy? I know, in fact, I'm not sure if they've shown in any trailers who the antagonists in this game actually are.
Yeah, the bad guys, they have shown them, but they've only teased them very slightly. So the bad guys are a guy called Rafe, who I don't think we know his backstory, so I won't go there. And Nadine, who's like the owner of like a private military company kind of thing. And they're kind of the antagonists. And basically the thrust of the story, because every Uncharted game, it kind of injects fiction into fact, right? They take a mystery or an old historical story and kind of pour their fiction into that. So the story here is a pirate called Henry Avery, who was a real pirate who nicked a lot of treasure, and he was basically the first man that there was ever an international manhunt over, and he basically disappeared with millions and millions and millions of pounds of treasure, and he was never found. So the story in this game is Drake trying to find his treasure, basically. I mean, it's really good. I don't know about you guys, but I was never into the historical story part of it, the Shambhala and the Atlantis of the Sands and all that stuff. That never interested me, but the whole pirate arc here is really good. And
So when you say pirate, are we talking sort of 17th, 18th century pirate?
Yes, yeah. I think it's late, yeah. So yeah, it's great. I mean, it's just really good. You can tell I like this game, right?
I know,
you're gushing.
I can hear the smile.
Yeah, I mean, but I should stress as well, it's not perfect. I mean, it is an Uncharted game, and if you don't like that kind of automatic platforming kind of stuff, although they do a lot of interesting things to change up the platforming. You constantly, how you always know where to go, but you're kind of asking yourself, well, how do I get there? They do that throughout the whole game. You constantly have to think about something different about where you're going. Yeah, it's just so good. It's so good.
Now, when we're talking, it's actually, I think the embargo lifts tomorrow, is that right?
That's right. 8 a.m. tomorrow at the time of recording.
As it goes, are you allowed to tell us what your score is, bearing in mind this goes nowhere until tomorrow?
Yeah, it's a 10 out of 10.
Ooh,
We talked about it a lot, and for us on Push Square, a 10 out of 10 isn't perfect. The whole scale is there to be used, right? A 10 out of 10 is what we would consider the pinnacle of a genre, and I think I don't think that this is better than The Last of Us. I think this is as good as The Last of Us, and it's different to The Last of Us. But I think that as far as cinematic action shooters go, however you want to define it, this is the top tier. And I mean, we've all played The Order, and some people like The Order, some people don't like it as much, but it's on a completely different level to The Order. It's on a different level to Tomb Raider. It's excellent. Though I was just going into criticisms, wasn't I? And I just totally went gushing. So yeah, criticisms. I mean, it is quite slow at the start, I think. It takes a while to really get going, and there's not as much action in this game as in the past games. So if people are buying it expecting a straight third-person shooter, they might be disappointed that this leans more on story and puzzling and platforming and stuff. So that's one criticism that I would throw at it. It all even goes, I hate this term, but it even goes a little bit walking simulator in some parts.
Terrible. This is
is
sounding
starting-
more and more
yeah,
like
this is sounding
a
like my
perfect
game.
for you.
Yeah. So did either of you play the Left Behind DLC for The Last of Us?
Yeah, I loved it.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So you know how in that Ellie and is it Riley? I think Riley. They go in like a Halloween shop, right? And you're trying on different masks and just talking about
Yeah.
this shop. There is one quite prolonged section a bit like that, and people are going to not like that because this is an action game, or it's meant to be an action game, right? And people aren't going to enjoy that as much. But I thought, like in the old Uncharted games, it was wave after wave after wave after wave of combat at points, and that got really fatiguing. Whereas in this one, it's not like that. The combat is really well paced out and it's really well spread. And when you get to it, you're really looking forward to, oh, this is a gunfight and this is going to be intense and action packed. And then they know how to dial it down again and build it back up again. It's really well done. And I mean,
He has been.
the third person shooting, sorry, I could go on about this all night. Sorry, you've got to realize I played this game last week and I haven't spoken to anyone about it yet. So
Oh, damn.
We're taking the lid off.
the third person shooting is excellent. Like it's great third person shooter. The enemies really encourage you to move and change your position and change your weapons. So you're constant, and because the environments are so much bigger, you're climbing up a structure, shooting a guy over a ledge, jumping down, punching a guy in the face, sliding down a hill, and it's really fluid and really fast, and it really gets you going. It's a brilliant game. It's a brilliant
You're
game.
so excited.
He's vibrating right
Yeah,
now.
it's literally like,
Hovering off the ground. I mean, he has been progressively killing fewer and fewer people each game, which I think is not only a sign of the series maturing, but also perhaps a slight change in direction. You say that there's this stuff from the Last of Us in there where it goes a bit walking simulator, which is just a terrible term, a very derogatory term for a very brilliant genre of game.
yes.
I think if it's as blended as well as you say with action, then that's only going to serve it.
I haven't played it a second time yet, so I don't know whether that's going to become tedious on a second playthrough. That's
Right.
maybe the concern. But in terms of first impressions and the experience you have when you play through the story for the first time, it's brilliant. And we should also mention it is Uncharted. There are lots of set pieces in this game which are, I mean, people have seen the bike sequence, I assume by now. That is kind of an example of some of the crazy stuff that goes on in this game. But in Uncharted 3, they really, really ramped up the set pieces, right? You were in a sinking cruise ship, you were falling out of a plane. And the next step from that would have been sending Drake into space or something stupid, right? Like how Call of Duty constantly tries to better itself and and get bigger and bigger. Well, this time they've kind of said, well, no, we can still create the spectacular, but we're going to make it smaller, a little bit smaller, a little more grounded, a little more personal, a little more meaningful. So there's nothing wild in this game.
Right.
But because the presentation is so spectacular, it's still impressive nonetheless.
Excellent. A couple of quick-fire questions for you, Sammy.
Go on then.
Is it the best Uncharted game?
I think so. The way I would temper this question is I would say Uncharted 2 was more important. Uncharted 2 changed everything for third-person shooters. It turned what would have been a cutscene into gameplay, right? Uncharted 4 doesn't change everything, but it is. I've written in the review, and this isn't my best ever sentence, but it but it sums up perfectly. It's bigger, it's better, and it's more beautiful, and I think that's the main point.
Is it the best PS4 exclusive so far this year?
This year, I haven't played Ratchet and Clank yet, but I'd be shocked if Ratchet and Clank.
I don't know. Alex Stinson would have to fight you on that.
Ratchet and Clank looks like an amazing Ratchet game. Another Ratchet game executed.
You just called this game Rat. I just hear that.
But this, if they would have remade Uncharted 2, then this would have been on the same level as, not remade it, but done Uncharted 2 again.
Yeah.
This would be on the same level as Ratchet, but I think this is better than Uncharted 2. So I think it's the best exclusive. I think it's the best exclusive so far, personally. I mean,
that was my next question. Is it the best PS4 exclusive?
I mean,
we've
look,
got?
Journey and The Last of Us. I mean, me and Rob do our 20 best games on the platform, and we always put Journey and The Last of Us as the best games. And I would still put those two as the best games, but he'll fight me for third. He'll say it's Witcher, but I think Uncharted 4 is better than The Witcher.
Brilliant. Speaking of Rob, are you going to let him review Blood and Wine, the Witcher 3 expansion?
Yes, yeah.
Then we can get him
can
on.
finally get him on
we
the
can
show.
get him on. I want to talk to him about anime games.
No,
I want to talk to him about
no
anime.
anime.
Weeaboo.
Brilliant. No, you can't use that term. It's very offensive. Okay, well, that's brilliant. The Uncharted 4 review, 10 out of 10, now live, pushsquare.com. Sammy, thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you for finally letting me talk about it.
Indie bin this week, we have Severed. It's a first-person dungeon crawler from Drinkbox Studios, the developers of Guacamelee, which was bloody great. This is a Vita exclusive, which I didn't know was still a thing. You know, the Vita being...
Good for Vita.
Yeah, it's nice to see that it's still getting some love. This is essentially a crazy, colourful dungeon crawler from a first-person perspective. You play someone that is missing a hand, and you go about beating things up in labyrinthian environments. It sounds as crazy as it is.
Yeah, you're rubbing your eyes, which isn't a good sign.
Hay fever.
Oh, okay. What have you got in here to be hay fever?
No, it's just that time of year, man.
Okay.
But yeah, it's obviously being on Vita, it's going to be using its touchscreen elements. Combat is predominantly where that comes into play. Beating up the enemies is just a major swipe-a-thon, essentially, but you have to swipe in different ways to kill different enemies.
What?
It's just, it feels gimmicky.
Oh.
The whole thing is, it's enamoured by the fact that it's colourful, it's vibrant, and it's weird as well. I don't think there's that many first-person dungeon crawlers out there, let alone on the Vita. So it's nice in that respect that it's slightly different. But at the end of the day, it falls into the trap that so many Vita titles seem to, which is you're just poking the screen incessantly without much reward.
Does it use the normal controls much, or does it feel like they were setting up for its inevitable life on touchscreen only devices afterwards?
It was built with touchscreen in mind. There's not as much as you'd like being controlled on the stick.
So it's really not like Guacamelee then, where it was pretty much all buttons.
Yeah, which is why Guacamelee worked so damn well.
I didn't really like Guacamelee.
I loved it.
I gave it a
really
go when
loved
it was on Plus, and I can see what they were trying to go for, but it wasn't for me.
No? I really
I
liked
just
it.
found it really annoying. Like, I'm not good at that kind of side-scrolling, platformy type thing, unless it says you have to go this way now. As soon as they offered up different, elevation and stuff, I just couldn't.
Really, I liked that. It was quite rich, and that's one of the things that I think is causing Severed to suffer, is that it's not. The environments are winding and labyrinthian, as I mentioned, and that kind of just gets trying because it's all touchscreen and weird, and it's all quite samey. It doesn't feel like there's enough variety, whereas in Guacamelee, I was really excited to meet new characters. They were all different. It was really cool going to new areas because there'd be new enemies, and they'd always shock me. You're running about the underworld, anything could come your way. It's an 8-hour campaign. Can't call it a campaign, but you know what I mean. Like
Across Europe.
It's 8 hours of play, and there's a crafting system that's probably a bit too complex for its own good. There is like an RPG-ish skill tree. To say it's RPG-like is probably a bit giving it too much. But
you can level stuff up.
You can level stuff up. It gives you reason to keep playing, but I'm not particularly enamoured by it, if I'm honest. Especially coming from Guacamelee being such a good game and so functional.
6 out of 10 from Sammy Barker.
Yep.
Reviewed on pushsquare.com.
Yep.
What is its fate?
It's indie bin.
Staying indie bin.
Indie bin.
Sorry, Drinkbox. Better luck next time.
We'll have to send them one of the.
No, we don't want to send them a rosette.
No, so I thought about this. If we're sending people rosettes saying it's out the bin,
out the bin.
Out the bin.
Yeah.
We're gonna have to send people little bins.
Can we just send
with their game in it?
Our overhead on that is going to be very expensive. Thinking pragmatically, can we just send them a picture of a
of a bin.
Or like an e-bin or
Just
something
like
attached
a
to
really
an email.
rubbish Photoshop of their game in a bin.
Yeah. Yeah.
Laminate it.
But like not a PNG, so it's a picture of their
So
box art with
pixelated.
white with the white around it, and it's just in front of a bin, and it's terrible.
not even in the
looking.
bin.
No, it's near the bin.
We've just written in marker indie bin.
Yeah, yeah. Okay, well, that's a shame.
Yeah, it is. It was because it was. It's a shame. I was really excited for it,
And it's a Vita exclusive, and as
Yeah.
long as these continue to be a bit,
a bit.
then
Yeah,
we're shame.
it's just digging its own grave. It really is.
Now it's time for some audience questions. You can submit these by going to pushsquare.com, clicking on the forums button, and then going to the online communities section, and we'll stick it right to the top. Occasionally we'll ask for questions.
You're right there.
I'm just getting into character. Occasionally we'll ask for questions, and when we do post in this particular forum topic, on the front page on the right hand side it will say, in the most recently posted in forum topics, Push Square Podcast. You see something going on there, you click on it. We might be asking for questions. Just leave one in there, we'll answer it on the show.
Help a brother out.
We brothers?
Yeah.
Okay, alright. First question from Splat. How were you introduced to gaming? He was with the NES and Mario Bros.
It's quite a good entry to gaming.
Yeah, absolutely.
I don't know. It wasn't actually that early into my life that I was introduced to gaming. I'm not one of those ones that came out of the womb with a joypad in hand, like so many people claim.
I think this is biologically inaccurate, and I find it difficult to believe.
Probably Game Boy.
As in the big fat Game Boy or Game Boy Color.
Game Boy Color. I think it might have even been a Tarzan game.
Disney's Tarzan.
Yeah, I believe.
I remember seeing that in the cinema.
That or Doom.
You and
Did Doom came out on the Game Boy Color?
I don't know if Doom did.
Might have been
out.
Game Boy Advance, which means it wouldn't be that. Christ, I can't remember. Definitely, like my earliest like proper playing to exhaustion was Pokemon Yellow.
Yeah.
100%.
Okay. My cousin had a Sega Mega Drive.
Yep.
And a Nintendo 64. On the Mega Drive, he had Sonic and Terminator, the movie
Nice.
tie-in, which was
Yeah.
terrifying. And on the Nintendo 64, he had Turok.
Oh, good game.
And he had no save device for it, though.
Yeah, so you just got to play it.
So we would play it, finish it, and then we'd turn it off and we'd have to do it all again.
Worth it.
We just
just
accept
did
it. We had no idea how to get hold of one of these save things. My first actual console though,
Can't tell.
was a Game Boy Color and Pokemon Blue, and my first, I suppose that's a handheld, first console was a PlayStation 1.
My first console was an N64. Demaster. Mm-hmm. What stagnant franchise needs to be spruced up the most?
Stagnant?
Oh, that's a callous word, that.
Call of Duty? Stagnant? What are you talking about, Demaster? Or maybe I put those words into his mouth. Call of Duty needs to be fixed right up.
Or left alone?
Just leave it for a while.
Just ignore it.
Yeah.
Give it 10 years off.
Like Guitar Hero, just give it a few years.
Yeah.
And then come back with an underwhelming reboot. I'm joking. I heard it's fine, but didn't do very well. But it'll be fine. What about you?
Assassin's Creed, which
They are doing
is
that.
taking the year off.
They are doing
It
that.
might be spruced up.
It is taking a break. And if we skip a question quickly and go to SKC Diamond, who asks our opinion on yearly releases.
Yes, I was going to say this marries in quite nicely to this question.
It depends on the series, to be honest. I think sports games are okay. They can kind of get away with that.
Yeah, 100%.
Unless they start to do what I kind of want them to do. Especially with... I like WWE, right? And I like the WWE games. The only thing that really changes year to year are the roster,
Yep.
the outfits of the people on the roster, their stats, sort of as they move up and down from the main events, or sort of lower in the card or what have you, and sometimes the championships change. And the arenas obviously will change each year because they have like a makeover each year.
And that's the same with things like Formula 1 and FIFA.
Generally FIFA as well. What I want them to do is get to a stage with these games where they can say, we are happy with this game and how it works. You buy WWE 2K, whatever it is, 2K17. Then, for the following 3 years, we'll do it on a 3-year cycle.
They just do DLC
We will
drops.
patch in every 6 months the latest updates, and all you have to do is one-off payment, and you're subscribed to those until we get a new game, which we will introduce new mechanics, all that kind of stuff.
As a developer, you'd be sitting there 3 years giving out free content. You'd have to make sure that your game...
Well, I did say you have to subscribe to that model.
Oh, okay.
You have to, if you get the game, you get the current roster, that's fine. But if you want the update every few months or whatever, then you're going to have to subscribe to you're going to have to pay like a WWE 2K pass or a FIFA pass, or I don't know how they could do it. I'm not a business scientist, man. but that's what I would want.
Outside of sport games, I don't think annualizing is a good thing at all.
Well, we had Dark Souls 2, then we had Bloodborne, then we had Dark Souls 3.
That only worked, I think, because of Bloodborne and how it was different but the same.
And I was absolutely fine with that as well.
Yeah.
We've had a Souls game 3 years running, and it's been amazing. But equally, I'm happy for there to be a break now if we ever
Yeah,
see
we were
another
talking about this the other day, weren't we?
Yeah. Good question, though. Rudy Manchego,
Love that name.
best name. Where do you stand on the hostility towards walking sims, Mr. Tarrant?
I don't think it's fair at all. I think the genre name of walking sim itself lends itself to hostility. It's... Okay, you look at Everybody's Gone to the Rapture. That's the most walky game I can think of off the top of my head right now. Because Firewatch, you do some climbing, you do other things and whatever. But
You've got to press buttons to talk.
yeah, exactly.
Walking.
It's more interactive, whereas this is you just walk about.
Yeah.
It's so good. It's an interactive story. I think to call it a game is fair because you are experiencing it and you're in control of it. You can have the story backwards. You can listen to that bit of the story and then go somewhere else. And I think that in itself, to craft that so that it makes sense, is incredible. And I think the hostility to it is ridiculous. You regularly mention that they were quite a good palate cleanser for you after the kind of action rampage of so many other games. I think that's a really fair point, that they're so fresh. It's inevitable that the industry will become awash with them and they will be ridiculously boring.
Yeah.
But I really enjoy them, and I really enjoy the narrative nature of them, the way that they can tell a story.
Ultimately, it's just a to each their own kind of thing. Like,
of course.
why on earth would you be so offended by the idea of
someone
a
enjoying
genre
something
of game that you don't like, that you would try and sabotage someone else's enjoyment of that?
That's the internet, though, isn't it?
We can sit here and we can mock Call of Duty, but there are people who genuinely like that, and
you know
all
what?
the
Fair
power
enough,
to
yeah.
them. If you want to play that, that's absolutely fine.
You go outside and play it.
But go outside?
Yeah. No.
You okay?
Wireless controllers, maybe. You could sit outside.
You having a stroke? You alright? You need me to call someone? You smell toast.
That's actually a thing, isn't it? If you're having a stroke and you smell toast. That's scary.
Yeah.
I just smell burnt toast now and I'm like, oh no! My time!
Your time. My hourglass runs low.
I'm due a stroke.
Great question. I don't know how we got to that. But finally, Dr. Clayman asks, what game do you love that everyone hates, and vice versa? I'm a bit of a sheep, really, when it comes to games.
Really?
Yeah, I'm trying... Oh, The Order 1886. Bloody loved that game. Don't care what anyone else says. I really, really liked it, and I want a sequel, please, right now.
This is easier for me. I can just say Brink. Everybody hates Brink, and I love it. So
that's a game that... what's a game that everyone loves that I hate? I kind of mentioned it before. I don't hate it, but Shadow of Mordor didn't really live up to the hype for me.
I really like that.
Yeah, I can't think of a game that I absolutely despise, though. Hate is a strong word. Some people like Knack.
Well, they're wrong.
I hated that. If you think you like Knack, you're lying to yourself.
Lying to yourself. You're just trying to warrant the purchase.
Yeah, stop trying to justify it, okay?
I don't know.
You got anything for me?
No. One that I hate, everybody loves. Uncharted.
Oh, you don't hate Uncharted.
I don't hate it. I'm passionately disliking it at the moment.
You're an awful man. Anyway, those are all the questions we've got. Thank you very much for those of you who submitted those. Remember, you can go to pushsquare.com/forums, online community section. We're stickied right to the top, and keep an eye out for when we're asking for questions. We record fortnightly. So keep an eye out for those. Now it's time for the end of the show.
So, coming up on pushsquare.com, there's loads of stuff from PAX East.
What is
filtered.
PAX East?
It's just a convention.
It's just a thing, right?
That's in the East. It's not. It's in the East of like North America.
What?
Huh?
Okay.
It's
So it's in our West.
Yeah. That's confusing.
Yeah.
Obviously, the Uncharted embargo has lifted.
Yeah, and there's going to be tons of content for that, right?
It's going to be everywhere.
We'll be able to move for it.
Sammy's so excited. He's going to be just writing about Uncharted exclusively for the next year.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Shadow Complex Remastered. We're talking about that. Push Me, Pull You, which looks really ridiculous.
Okay.
That's up on the site. Neverending Nightmares. That's also got a review up on the site.
Mm-hmm.
So you can check those out.
Well, I don't know if they're up now, but the reviews are coming.
Push Me, Pull You is.
Oh, is up now?
That's up now.
Okay.
Potter, how else can we find this great PlayStation content?
Oh, well, thank you, Tarrant, for asking. If you want all that coming straight to your social media feeds, then you need to follow us on Twitter @PushSquare or find us on Facebook /PushSquare. But if you'd rather watch things than read them because you're lazy like me, you can go to youtube.com /PushSquare, where you can find streams from Alex Stinson. There's vlogs, kind of, from Sammy, where he's talking about news and stuff. Other videos, like the topic of discussion that we had earlier on. There's also a video of that if you want to go and watch that instead. And you can find all sorts of other stuff there, so make sure you go and subscribe.
The Push Square podcast can be found on SoundCloud, Stitcher, iTunes, where if you leave us a 5-star review, you're not trying to put words in your mouth.
Well, we need those ego points,
Yeah.
is what fuels us really, so make sure you get those ego points sent over to us. And finally, pushsquare.com is the place where you can find everything. It's all linked into there, and it's the best PlayStation website on the internet, by the way. And if anyone tells you otherwise, you can punch them in the face, and that's a rule. What a sign-off. Thanks for listening, everybody. Thank you, Mr. Tarrant.
Thank you.
Thank you for listening to the Push Square Podcast. For the latest PlayStation news, reviews, and features, visit www.pushsquare.com.